Let's order first, then you can look at my document. I can't help you. Sorry. See that silence? That's because you said, I can't directly. It sounds final. The moment you said that, the stranger's face dropped. They didn't know what to say next. That's the problem with a direct, I can't. It leaves no room for explanation. The other person feels dismissed. There's a softer way to say the same thing. Instead of shutting the door, you can open a window. That's where what I mean is comes in. It signals that you're about to clarify, not reject. The scene opens right as the stranger makes the request. The next sentence decides whether the moment gets worse or easier.
But I needed to cancel. What else could I say? It sounded so final. But now I see, if I had said what I mean is, and then explained, it would have been different. For example, what I mean is, I'm really swamped right now. That gives a reason. It doesn't just say no. And if I want to be warmer, I could start with, I see where you're coming from. That shows I understand their side. That keeps the conversation open. Anna breaks the silence to explain the issue. That changes the pressure. Anna, as coach, points out the problem, directness. Jake has said I can't directly, causing an awkward silence. The risky line is still, saying I can't directly.
When the room hears, so, can you look at my document? And the answer comes back as, what I mean is, I'm really swamped right now. Could we look at it another way? That is the moment the tone either tightens or softens. I am listening for whether the sentence repairs the relationship or keeps resisting the correction. The line worth saving for the next try is, what I mean is, I'm really swamped right now. One detail to notice while saying it is if you only have, focus on. That kind of sentence may be grammatically fine, but it leaves the other person doing too much emotional work. The cleaner first move is, what I mean is. When the relationship still matters, the warmer option is, I see where you're coming from.
My first reply, exactly. That directness is what created the awkward silence, sounds shorter and colder than I expected. In plain English, the exchange is this, Jake admits his mistake, Anna confirms. The line worth saving for the next try is, what I mean is. It works better because it turns a refusal into an explanation, avoiding awkward silence. My first version was, I can. It sounds short, but short is not always clear. If I give no reason and no next step, the other person has to guess my intention. So my simple version becomes, what I mean is. If I want it warmer, I can say, I see where you're coming from. If the moment is formal, I can use, could we look at it another way?
The next sentence needs to do one job clearly. A usable version is, what I mean is. When the room hears, instead of I can't, try what I mean is, and then explain. And the answer comes back as, what I mean is. I'm really swamped right now. For a more serious moment, use, could we look at it another way? The reason this works is it sounds final and dismissive, creating awkward silence. Leave the listener with a clear next step, what I mean is. One small sound detail matters here. Stress on mean in what I mean is, to emphasize clarification. So the sentence has to carry reason, tone, and a next step. That keeps the original goal in view. Cancel plans with a stranger he just met at a cafe, without sounding rude or awkward.
A usable version is, could we look at it another way? My first reply, could we look at it another way? I can help next week, sounds shorter and colder than I expected. By the time we reach, great. It invites collaboration. I can hear whether I am still defending myself or actually fixing the moment. The risky line is still, thinking you must say no outright. The line worth saving for the next try is, could we look at it another way? The line I want to keep is this, could we look at it another way? That works because it sounds final and dismissive, creating awkward silence. I am not memorizing a random phrase, I am choosing the sentence that repairs this exact situation.
Jake takes a deep breath and tries the phrase with Anna as the stranger. When the room hears, what I mean is, I'm really swamped right now. And the answer comes back as, good start. But you hesitated. The pause made it sound unsure. The risky line is still. Jake starts with the phrase but then hesitates. That works because after successful practice, Jake now tries the new phrase with Anna as the stranger. The reason is trigger the central communication mistake.
That sounds more understanding. When do I use that? Jake is forced to make the next move. A usable version is, I see where you're coming from. By the time we reach, use it when you want to acknowledge their perspective first, then soften your refusal. I can hear whether I am still defending myself or actually fixing the moment. In plain English, the exchange is this. Anna contrasts the two phrases. The useful skill in this chapter is distinguish between what I mean is, and I see where you're coming from. The risky line is still, using the same phrase for every situation. The line worth saving for the next try is, I see where you're coming from.
The goal is not to use all the phrases. The goal is to be clear and kind. One opener is enough. The first guess, I can, describes the surface but not the cause. The useful wording here is, I see where you're coming from. Anna simplifies the approach. Keep the idea, but change the words for your real situation. And the answer comes back as, so just what I mean is, and then the reason. The next line, exactly. Simple works. Tells me whether the repair is finally landing. In plain English, the exchange is this. Anna reframes the goal. The risky line is still, using multiple softening phrases in one sentence. One detail to notice while saying it is the goal is not to. The goal is to.
Keep the idea, but change the words for your real situation. My first reply, yeah, I was thinking. How do I avoid that? Sounds shorter and colder than I expected. By the time we reach, just start with, what I mean is, right away. No pause. I can hear whether I am still defending myself or actually fixing the moment. In plain English, the exchange is this. Anna points out the pause, and Jake agrees to work on timing. The useful skill in this chapter is using the phrase without hesitation to sound confident. The risky line is still, hesitating before the softening phrase, which can signal uncertainty. The line I want to keep is this. What I mean is, I'm really swamped right now.
The stranger suggests rescheduling, showing the relationship is intact. When the room hears, I see where you're coming from. Maybe we can reschedule. And the answer comes back as, that sounds great. Let's do that. The scene itself is simple. The stranger responds warmly. The useful skill in this chapter is seeing the result of a softened refusal. The risky line is still, I can. It works better because it keeps the conversation collaborative. Jake, slow down and stay inside this one moment. The stranger responds warmly. Leave the listener with a clear next step. What I mean is, I'm really swamped right now. Menu closed and placed back on the table. The reason is diagnose the exact missing tone, fact, or next step.
Keep the idea, but change the words for your real situation. My first reply, perfect. Remember to stress mean, sounds shorter and colder than I expected. The useful skill in this chapter is practicing the phrase with confidence. It works better because stress on mean emphasizes clarification. The line I want to keep is this. What I mean is, I'm really swamped right now. Say the ending in one clean chain, what we saw, what caused it, and how the result changed. The useful wording here is, what I mean is. Menu still closed. Jake picks it up as a prop.